A very good morning, everyone. So, before I'm going to discuss the real other world or real other dimension that is the dimension of the soul, I should first address the unreal world, the unreal universe, the parallel universe in which things happen always as they should happen. And in that unreal universe, which exists inside the mind and not outside of it, right now there were many people that should have been here in this room. And I'm fully aware that people were withheld in airports just on the way after buying flight tickets from France, from Switzerland, from the Netherlands, and of course other parts of Germany. Right now I'm speaking from a red, forbidden city, broadcasting to you a forbidden seminar. Somehow there are several people who managed to sneak in. Hopefully we will not be separated from each other during the weekend. So this means that the overwhelming majority of the participants in this seminar are online participants, and therefore I certainly am going to honor that by speaking as much as possible to the camera, and by inviting any kind of questions and sharing, and we will give them all a precedence. So we will all be able to feel that we are together. So that's concerning the unreal world, the unreal dimension. And now let's discuss the real other dimension. But perhaps even before that, this seminar, again in the unreal dimension, the unreal universe, was supposed to take place in Vienna with Hannah as its central organizer, and slowly but surely it took the form of a mostly online experience. But what is important about this point is that this entire subject of the seminar is a sort of a request by Hannah, and to a certain degree I initially said yes out of friendliness and because I wanted to make her happy. Usually the topic of the journey of the soul and the evolution of the soul and the soul in general is a topic that I try to avoid as much as possible with many elegant and non-elegant ways. Sometimes I provide rather contradictory answers. So sometimes I avoid, sometimes I'm simply completely contradicting myself. And this has to do with my role, with my function as a spiritual teacher, who is meant to help people to attain Buddhahood, attain self-realization. In this, by the way, I'm not so different from teachers who were far greater, far more significant than me, like the Buddha, Ramana Maharshi, Jiddu Krishnamurti. They were all, and many others, they were all providing, either avoiding the topic or providing conflicting answers. And exactly for the same reason. This is because sometimes we tend to over-attach to the new identity, the identity of the soul. It's another subtle form of identification and becoming. And when we want to be completely free, our aim is to transcend all identification and move to realize our deepest nature as selfless, formless being. So this is why I find myself often hesitant. But I think that this weekend is the time for a comprehensive and responsible answer. It will take me 2 days to answer, and I'm sure that you are going to have plenty of questions that will be that not all of them I will be able to answer. Partly because of my own limitation of knowledge, partly because of limitation of time. But it is time to give the answer. So thank you, Anna, for creating this opportunity. On the other hand, it is very difficult to find a great teacher in the history of humankind, a great teacher of enlightenment who has completely rejected the concept of the soul or reincarnation. We find so many of them speak about that, refer to that as an obvious fact. We find it in ancient Greece, in Pythagoras, in Plato, in Socrates. We find it in India, in the Upanishads, the earlier scriptures, the Yoga Vasishta, and so many others. And we, of course, find it in Buddhism. We have countless references to reincarnation, the soul, the process of rebirth, and so on and so on, and how to prepare for your death, and how to ensure your next rebirth in optimal conditions, and sometimes how you prevent rebirth at all. The Buddha was considered to be someone who rejected the soul, didn't really reject the soul at all. Actually, he was very interested, and mainly interested, in the idea of the soul, because his interest was, from the other side, was how to prevent rebirth, how not to be reborn. This was his entire doctrine. So he invested a great deal of teaching and to guide his monks and nuns in this direction. And he was very busy with the question, why do we take a human form in the first place? He himself, when he became enlightened, he announced that this was his last incarnation, which means that obviously what else can incarnate aside from a soul? And as this was his last incarnation, last human form, he also reported that he had remembered, he could recount countless of his incarnations upon awakening. When his monks died, he was able to predict where exactly they would reincarnate and when and why. So in this sense, these teachings, they are in a way challenging for a spiritual teacher, but on the other hand, if you look really deeply into the matter of the soul, into the journey of the soul, into the evolution of the soul, you realize that it is completely tied in to the teachings of liberation and enlightenment. So this was my apology. I'm joking. A sort of an explanation why we are taking on this journey, why you have come here, why you participate. I'm sure that you have each one your own reasons, and that's good to proclaim this reason for yourself, because this will give a sort of a clear direction to your presence during these 2 days. It's always good to know why we are learning what we are learning. So before we are entering the teaching, entering the journey and the morning talk, we will start with meditation. Now, this meditation is, in principle, it is a meditation that awakens the solar plexus chakra. This is how it is originally designed, but it is such a perfect metaphor for everything that we're going to talk about that I couldn't restrain myself. So the meditation starts within the solar plexus, below the chest. Solar plexus is incoincidentally called solar plexus, which means that it is the place, the area of the solar, the sun energy. And this correlates wonderfully with the sun energy of the solar plexus chakra. Now you can take a look at this painting on the wall. Now, Hannah, you are at the center of event. And you can see here that there is one sunflower that stands out and that looks directly to the sun, right? And this metaphor, which is, I think, the essence of my entire work, the entire transmission, is exactly what we're going to now meditate on. So Let's close our eyes. And we'll take one deep breath. To signify that we are delving into the world of meditation. And as we breathe slowly and deeply, we'll turn our attention to the area of the solar plexus, just between the navel and the lowest point of the chest. And deep inside this point, we'll move with our attention deeply into the center of the body, behind the solar plexus area. We'll visualize that a sunflower resides there, still in a dormant potential state. We will also visualize that the outermost part of the solar plexus is like the soil from which this sunflower is going to emerge. Now let's start breathing into this point where the dormant potential sunflower resides as a seed. And feel out with every in-breath, whenever we breathe into the depth of the solar plexus, this is just like the water and light that the seed requires in order to blossom. So we breathe into the solar plexus, and with every out-breath, we are feeling how the sunflower is beginning to develop, first still deep within the soil. And eventually, its flower begins to bloom and come out. Of the outer part of the solar plexus, still in a closed state. The flower is still closed, its petals are still folded. It's still shy, but at the same time already facing the world, facing the universe, facing the sky. And now we will visualize from a certain point in front of us and above us a huge radiating sun. This sun is a sun of golden light. It is both intensely hot and intensely glowing. And as it is glowing so intensely, its glow begins to reach all the way down into our solar plexus sunflower. And the light begins to enter the sunflower petals, and in response they unfold. Until a big sunflower, fully open, opens from within the center of our solar plexus. And as the sun keeps glowing, radiating, the sunflower that has the essence of the sun is radiating as well. It shares the glow. It shares this golden light. And the sharing is so profound that at a certain point it becomes like a mini sun. Perhaps it's not as radiating, and still it shares in the essence of the sun and becomes similar to it. So that to a certain point, in the same way that the sun is radiating toward the sunflower, the sunflower is radiating toward the sun. Remain for a long moment in this state in which your solar plexus chakra has become this immense source of light and warmth. Perhaps the sunflower has completely transformed into a sun. Perhaps it is still a flower. Feel this glow and how it changes your entire presence in the world, your entire sense of presence. And before you open your eyes, remember that at any point during the day, you can awaken this sunflower energy to reconnect with this inner glow and inner presence. So slowly and gently come out of the meditation. You can softly open your eyes. Good. So this is in general a very good way to awaken the solar plexus. We're smiling because the sun has just come out for a visit. But beyond the awakening of the solar plexus, it is a very good metaphor for the relationship between what we call the soul and its source, where it came from, the similarity that it shares with where it came from, the purpose of the soul journey, and so on and so on. Everything is hidden in this simple metaphor.